All right. A brand new episode of the Curfew Boys podcast heading into the Stanley Cup Finals. And then they were down to 2, but we got 4 of us here tonight. Sammy, myself, hosting with Mr. Baseman Hobbitdor Zook.
Gad off the way.
All I'm missing is my hash pipe.
Yeah, exactly. I got there's my cousin Chris ready to represent the motherland as the Euro Cup approaches.
Next weekend.
And then we got Mr. Jim Selfie himself, Joey the gym rat. Apparently,
come on,
Joey the gym rat.
Joey the gym
Show
rat.
Your flex.
Show me your squats.
There you go, brother.
Lift with your heels.
Joey the gym rat all the time, baby. It's good for your mental health.
That is very true. Well, not just mental health, physical health. Hey,
True.
man, I truly believe exercise, whichever way you use it, is the cure to old age. I truly believe it. We're not gonna get into that whole. We're not gonna get into that whole philosophy, but like you keep seeing more and more like reasons why the older generations why they're still healthy now. It's because they're just moving, constantly moving. They're not stuck on social media all the time.
You get that in sunlight, boosts your mood, boosts your energy, and helps with aging for sure. I wish Quebec would get more sunlight, but you know.
Hey, we can't complain. We've been having beautiful weather.
No, I meant like throughout the year. Like I'm talking more, those winter
capita.
Gotcha.
I just finished watching a reel of a Montrealer who moved to Sicily, explaining the justifications. God. And it inspired me to put on the jacket. I almost said that Chalmo instead of hey now. But,
hey, how the fuck you doing? Awesome, boys. Listen, before we get into the hockey topic, just want to say a quick mention that today is June 6th, and 80 years ago today, the Allied troops made the biggest, most successful invasion in military history, or probably in human history. By that I mean the invasion of the beaches of Normandy for the Allies to stop Hitler and the Nazis from taking over Europe and, God forbid, the rest of the fucking world. So this episode goes out to those men who stormed the beaches, knowing that they weren't going to make it, or their friends next to them were going to make it. The Canadians, part of the Canadian military men, they stormed Juno Beach, and they were one of the reasons why that operation was successful. Omaha Beach, the Americans took a beating, but they made it through. My favorite military or war movie is Saving Private Ryan, and every time we talk about D-Day or storming the beaches of Normandy, that opening scene was just like well done. And so
I saw it in the movies, like not live, but like the year that it came out.
Did you for real?
Yeah, I did. And
okay.
You were young at that point, right?
Like, I know. We were. It was like,
and I remember seeing that scene where that guy's arm blows up and he picks it up and runs. I'm like, that is like, I was like, what the fudge? And that stuff happened like more than you think.
Oh, absolutely. On the Joe Rogan podcast, I forgot which guest he had, but the guest that he had's grandfather was on Juno Beach. I think he was on Omaha Beach, was one of the survivors. And when apparently the guest was saying that when he was watching that scene with his grandfather, the grandfather was smelling the diesel off of those boats and onto the beaches. Like he was able to go back in time and, live whatever moment he lived through. So all that to say is without that ultimate sacrifice, especially on that day, maybe who knows what this world would be like for now. We probably wouldn't have the freedoms that we do right now. So this is to them, to those men out there that continue to serve, men and women continue to serve, and to those who made the ultimate sacrifice, we salute you. And another tribute we have to send out to is to the GOAT himself from LDS, Mr. Pierre Hood, who was earlier this week awarded the 2024 Foster Hewitt Memorial Award. And can't think of anyone more deserving than Pierre Hood, who's been the voice of French hockey in this province for God knows how long, since I started watching hockey. And just so happy for him, so deserving. He deserves to go to the Hall of Fame. This guy's a legend. This guy's a GOAT amongst French sports broadcasting, even amongst sports broadcasting. Like, he's so well respected from his peers from TSN and even Sportsnet and everywhere in this city, in the province, in the country, and from Habs fans all over the world. So I fucking love him.
There was a point in time when that's all I listened to was French hockey. And I always used to say, like, even growing up, like, even to my English friends and whatnot who don't like the Habs, I'm like, this is how we should be watching hockey. And it was always with Pierre Hood, because he would just have this energy that, like, not many commentators have. I don't know why, but, like, even, like, especially in the Anglophone ones, there's not many that have that energy. They're all, it seems to be, they're all trying to focus on saying the right words, and, you know, instead of,
I think Bob Cole and Doc Emmerich were
yeah, but those are rare breeds, right?
And who's the one on ABC Sports when Raymond Bourque lifted the cup? Like, that guy, I keep forgetting his name.
Wow.
I'm gonna go find it. But
yeah, but there's not many, man. There's not many like that, right? So, especially for us Montrealers, listening to French hockey is like what most of us do. I don't know about you guys, but growing up, that's all I listened to. And I used to, like, dude, even when I moved to Toronto in 2012, I had to pay, like, extra money to get French hockey because of the regional blockages and whatnot.
Okay.
Anyhow, that's to show you how of a GOAT he is.
Yeah, he's
definitely one of the best. Zook mentioned energy. The way he's able to bring the energy and motivation. I know everybody does it, but the way he's able to do it for so many years, it's outstanding. He's definitely one of the greatest broadcasters of all time. Like, when Habs score, when Habs have such a moment, this guy knows how to make you feel it as when he's commentating on the game. And they even mentioned when they were talking to him during this interview with RDS, did you guys see that in the mid-90s he was called in to do an English game?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Colorado, I think it was Colorado Panthers, right?
Yes.
Yeah. He was called in. I think I don't know if it was an emergency, but he had to be called in to do an English game. And they show clips of it. He did a good job. I was like, this guy can do it all.
Yeah, he speaks English pretty well.
Yeah,
he's perfectly bilingual.
Yeah,
well sophisticated. Such a great guy, and I mean, amazing. We've been lucky to have him for so many years. And to be quite honest, look, I mean, we all speak English and French, but if you were to ask me, I watch obviously a little more English content. Just growing up, we grew up a little more in English. But if you ask me for hockey, we certainly, like, there's no doubt about it, we'll choose French every time, especially because of Pierre Hood.
Yeah, 1,000%. A good deal of learning French was through him, besides school. So but the best thing about him is that not only is he a great person, but he was never biased towards the Canadians. Like, he was able to kind of stay neutral while rooting for the Canadians. Like, he obviously roots for them, but, like, if they're playing a bad game, he's going to say, no, it's just not working out for this player tonight.
The one last thing I'd like to mention about Pierre Hood, in all honesty, is it just doesn't feel right with Felix Seguin calling the Canadians on Saturday nights, but more importantly in the playoffs. Like, even the call that Arturi Lehkonen scores sends the Canadians to the Stanley Cup Finals. I feel as though, like, I'm really, really, really hoping that there's somewhat of a downfall at TVA and that it could go back to RDS for 82 games a season and the playoffs, because if the Canadians are going to win the Stanley Cup, I hope to God that it's going to be Pierre Hood that's going to be calling that.
He got robbed of having to commentate that Stanley Cup run. He got robbed. He got robbed. Like, but so did the fans. Pardon me? Yeah.
Their deal with TVA, unfortunately, is they signed a long, like, it was a decade contract.
Because they're part of Bell Media? Was it because of that?
They are.
No,
it's not Bell Media. Bell Media's RDS.
8 to 10 years, I think, guys.
Yeah,
it's been 8 years. It's been like 7-8 years that they've been
nearly a decade contract, and it was Saturday night. Saturday night, 22 games, if I remember correctly, and the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's going to end soon. Hopefully, by the time the Habs are good, and they make the playoffs, it's going to be RDS. Hopefully.
I don't know if they're ever going to lose that. I really don't.
I don't know
if the TVA is ever going to lose. To be honest, if the Habs,
then you should work in TVA
playoffs. I watch them in English. The playoffs. I don't.
No.
I'm with Chris. I don't like it with TVA. I really don't.
Me too.
Yeah, it is what it is. But we'll see what happens. However, I know I'm just gonna be watching the Oilers and the Panthers on Sportsnet because it's the only English channel that is available. I believe, probably besides NHL Network and probably ESPN. But I'm ready to jump right into it. The Stanley Cup Finals, the Oilers versus the Panthers. Oilers beating the Stars in 6. Panthers beating the Rangers in 6. Are we surprised? Are we not surprised? I feel like any one of those 4 teams that would have advanced, you could have been like, yeah, I'm not surprised.
I'm happy the Panthers made it for Anthony's stupid theory of this Rangers 94 2024 bullshit. I am so happy it did not happen to hear from him. But beyond that, I want Florida to make it because I love Barkov. I mean, I'm sure everybody knows he's one of my favorite centers.
He's the perfect centerman. He's
absolutely. I dreamt of him being on Montreal, and I want Florida to win. And I do predict that they will win. I think they bring more of that playoff type hockey to me than Oilers do. I think Oilers in the last series that were very bad 5-on-5. I think they got better goaltending for sure. They got better goaltending that series, not overall. But Edmonton was relying a lot on special teams, and I was talking to Chris about it. Penalty kills have been great. Power play has been great. But to me, I know it's brought them all the way to the final. But when you face a team like Florida that's good on all 3 fronts and is definitely more physical, I think unless they change their game, Edmonton, I think it will be too much. I think Florida's going to take it.
That's why, like you just said now, the physical aspect of the game, I would have preferred Dallas being the opponent of Florida because Dallas is pretty aggressive too.
Dallas is very great, but man, it
would have been a matchup and a half, man.
It seemed like they just ran out of juice.
You know why?
Maybe there was injuries that
Edmonton.
But I also think God bless Joe Pavelski, who might call it a career.
Yeah,
he's in great shape, but he's old. Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin, they're older guys with especially Seguin with injury issues. He's old. Dandanov is not young. Wyatt Johnson was kind of missing. Jason Robertson is awesome. Logan Stankoven just proved that you could be a small player and still, excel in the playoffs. Like that kid's amazing. And I felt like Miro Heiskanen in the series against the Stars.
Caulfield has hope.
Yeah, I feel like Miro Heiskanen was alone. Like Ryan Suter's not the same Ryan Suter like he was in Minnesota.
He never got off the ice. Miro Heiskanen.
Pardon me?
Never got off the ice.
No, I know he was a beast, but he was all alone on defense.
Yeah, he was. They were, like you said, Sam. They were out of gas, and I think that comes from previous series. I think from Vegas and Colorado compared to what Edmonton played. Like Edmonton played Vancouver, which to me is all teams are physical when you get to that point. But they're not playing Colorado and Vegas. And who was their first round opponent? I think Edmonton was LA. And LA is good team, but they're not there.
No.
So I thought Edmonton had it a little easier, and they definitely had more energy in that series. I think Dallas was worn down, but man, when you come up against Florida, they will wear you down.
I owe Stuart Skinner an apology though, because I thought he was just gonna fucking crumble.
Yeah, same, but he stepped up that series. He's got to do it again, but he definitely stepped up.
I really didn't think Jake Oettinger was going to get outplayed by Skinner. I really, really did. And not that Oettinger was terrible either.
I just think I just think the penalties and all, I think that just costed them more than it being Oettinger. I think it was more of a team thing rather than
McDavid was. You know what, in my opinion, and then I want to hear what Chris has to say too, or everybody else, but Game 4, when the Stars started off the game with an early 2-0 lead, it was not even, I think it was 5 minutes into the first. I think everyone thought that might be the end of the Oilers, but for some reason the Oilers just kept their cool. And I think Dallas maybe let go of the gas pedal where they should have kept going, and that just opened the floodgates for the Oilers to come back, win it 4-2, and after that, it looks like the Oilers never looked back after that. I think that's the game where Dallas really, really let it slip.
It was a turning point for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Look, Edmonton's top guys are getting it done.
Mm-hmm.
think there's something special going on in Edmonton. Do I see them beating Florida? I can't. I will stick to it. I know it's kind of a split decision between our group in itself. I hope that Edmonton wins, but I just don't see how they get past Florida. Like Florida, to me, the only thing that I can say is Florida seems like the younger version of Dallas, and Edmonton technically got through them. Like I think I'll be honest, Ottinger I think is comparable to Bobrovsky. His goaltending was comparable to Bobrovsky's playoff run to date. If Edmonton gets through, it's because they're going to get outshot. Stuart Skinner's going to stand on his head. The puck is going to go the other way. And McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman, Nugent Hopkins, or the few supporting players are going to pot goals on the counterattack. But other than that, I think Florida in 6.
But again, is the issue of the Oilers being a bit still too top heavy what could lead to their downfall? I think Florida has better depth all around.
They do.
They do have better depth all around, but it's also like we're talking about, I think it's fair to say, put Gretzky's stats aside for the standing goaltender era. I think Connor McDavid is the best offensive player to ever play the game. Hands down. He makes, look, we talked about Heiskanen. The fucking goal that he scored in game 6 to put a top shot, he walked Heiskanen as though he was a kid.
Yeah.
As though he's pretty young, but he walked him as though he was nothing. The guy's an all-star defender, and he made him look foolish. Like, that's who you're dealing with. This guy can single-handedly change the outcome of the game. And you think about it, this guy has to win 4 more games. Is it impossible? No. Like, the Oilers went through a lot of adversity this year. I remember when they lost to the Sharks, you had Ryan Whitney of the Spinning Chicklets podcast dropping off the bandwagon. And they turned it around. They completely turned.
They fired their
coach.
When they got Knobloch as their coach, it changed everything.
Yeah. So look, I don't know what logic would indicate Florida and earlier rather than later, like in a certain sense, 6 games. I think that's fair. I don't want to say the Oilers are not good enough to keep up with them, but I just think Florida is so well built, but you do have the ultimate game changer.
Well, you have 2 of them in
on
my
Edmonton.
opinion. You have two
of them, but you have the absolute tip top, like changes the outcome of a game in a second.
Yeah. Yeah. Florida won't be able to play man-on-man coverage.
No,
it's gotta be a 5-man unit defense. It's gotta be a 5-man defensive unit.
They'll be smart about it. And I think you're right, Sam. I think the depth, and to me, I keep saying it, the 5v5 play. I think that's what's gonna get to Edmonton, really. And Chris brought up. I was gonna mention this anyways, but Chris brought up about going for Edmonton. You guys see the commercial about rooting for the Canadian team?
Yeah.
What's your whole debate on this? Because I'm the opposite.
Well,
I went with Mark Dumont, one of the Habs writer on X. He mentioned as saying, "Look, I can't go for Canadian teams. It's like going for a rival."
Dude,
I'm the same way.
It's well, he used to write for the Canadians.
Well, he was for Montreal Hockey now. Yeah,
that's right. Yes, that's right.
Yeah. I can't go for rivals, man. I'm sorry.
It's so I think. Because first of all, the major question is: are the Edmonton Oilers Canada's team? So,
no,
maybe not to us Habs fans, diehard Habs fans.
They are Canada's team now in the playoffs. Fuck.
No, but like they mean ultimately, like Leafs fans will say yes, it's theirs. Habs fans might say yes, theirs.
I would give it more to the Leafs than Edmonton.
Dude,
come on,
but it's
Edmonton done?
Sam.
No,
it's messed up because if you take, let's say, Vancouver Canucks fans, you take obviously Calgary Flames fans, they're going to say anybody but the Oilers type of thing. You take Toronto, who's just bitter about anybody else. But like then you have, that's funny because if you take the East and you look at us, like I would say fuck anybody but Toronto, anybody but Ottawa, if the case would come up. And there's the neutral ground of Winnipeg, halfway in between, where people are like, yeah, they're cool, they're all right, like I don't mind them. But I have no problem rooting for Edmonton, but if somebody here were to say, I'm supporting the Leafs to the last Canadian team, like I would be the first to insist on physical violence against that individual.
I'd punch
Maybe
him.
Not. It's a joke.
I know. I'd punch a Leaf, but
no.
Okay.
To me, it's a rival.
I'm pretty sure. Though,
I want Montreal to be the last team to win it and the next team to win it.
Yeah, right. I'm pretty sure that if we actually get the data on this, I'm pretty sure that there's more Canadian. That the Habs have the most fans in Canada.
They do
in all of Canada. In Toronto, you have
Canada. I think it's
when I lived in Toronto, I had so many fucking Hab fans around me.
They're huge out west. Like
Ottawa is all Habs.
Our uncle Joe, Chris and my uncle Joe. When he would, I think I don't know if it's his time during the military in the 80s and the 90s, but like he went to like Calgary games out in Calgary, and he said. He probably easily 60% of the attendance were Montreal Canadiens fans.
You see when the Habs play the Flames, bro, the fucking fans, there's a lot of Habs jerseys.
Packed. It's packed.
So how can anybody even question the fact that the Habs are not Canada's team? But they're called the Canadians, for fuck's sake.
But also, true, the Canadiens with
whatever.
Whatever. That's very true. But it's also due to all those years of winning. They got to start getting back into those winning ways. Like, I'm not going to go as far as saying winning the cup as much as we want them to, but they got to start showing that like every year they're contenders. They might get there. That's like when they get there, I really think, and I'm trying not to be as biased as possible. I'm trying to be neutral here, but I really think. I don't know if COVID fucking ruined the opportunity to really see Habs fans across the country root for this team, because you couldn't go out to bars and you couldn't go out to pubs and you couldn't go out to restaurants and you couldn't fill up the fucking Bell Center with fans. I really think if times were normal when the Canadiens were in the finals, I think you would see TVs across the nation being filled with Habs fans at bars and pubs rooting for the Canadiens to win the cup against the Lightning. I'm convinced. I'm convinced.
Absolutely. Yeah. They have the most fans in the world, I'm pretty sure, for Canada. So
yeah. My whole point of this, like, I'm with Joey that I want the Canadiens to be the first Canadian team to break that curse since 1993. But Chris said something that is true. You want to see the great ones win. We wanted to see Crosby win.
Great.
Sorry?
Barkov is great. So there's a great one.
I don't disagree with you. Barkov is great. Matthew Tkachuk is great. I always liked Aaron Ekblad. He's great. Sergei Bobrovsky is great. But for fuck's sakes, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, they're a notch above all the names. But like, man, how many of us wanted to see Ovechkin win the cup? At some point in time, we all thought he was never going to win it. And now, like recently, we all thought Connor McDavid was never going to win it. And now he's got a chance. He's literally 4 wins away. So I'll speak for myself here. I want Florida to win because they never won ever a Stanley Cup. They came close last year. They lost. They came close in 96,
right?
Against Colorado. I mean, and hey, think about it. Like, the fucking 3 Stanley Cup finals in like 20, not so bad. But anyways, my point is this: like, I want to see them win. I love the way the team is built. I think they're the most perfectly built team within the last 2-3 seasons. Ever since they got Matthew Tkachuk, it just changed fucking everything. But if Edmonton does win, I will be extremely happy for McDavid and Draisaitl. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, say that. Listen to this.
Pissed, but
it's fine. You're allowed. Listen to this. The 2014 NHL entry draft. Can you guys name me the top 4 picks?
Yeah.
Ekblad, Reinhardt. Then it was Draisaitl, and then it was Sam Bennett.
Yeah.
And Florida
How the fuck does that happen? The top 4 picks in 2014 are in 10 years later. They're in the Stanley Cup. So I know I've mentioned this many times. In one of the hockey books I read, Draft Day, they said majority of the teams that went to the Cup Finals and won had at least 10 players they drafted. Did you see on Twitter what the NHL page posted about Florida, how they built their team? Like there's only 3 guys or 4 that they actually drafted that are in the lineup. Ekblad, Barkov, I think Lundell is another Lundell or I keep confusing his name. Lindell, and I'll just get the last one. I should have had it opened up here. But anyways, there's only 4. The rest: Sam Bennett, Kachuk, Verhaeghe, Bobrovsky, acquired through trade and free agency.
Reinhardt,
dude.
There's no footprint, dude. In my opinion, there's no blueprint. Sorry, of how to really build a team.
Because it always changes.
It changes, exactly. So I would hate to be a GM. That's all I'm saying.
It's constant.
Because I could have a vision, but that vision tomorrow morning might be fucking bullshit. So
because it constantly
insane, man. Insane.
People, I think people forget that, or not that they're not aware, but they seem to forget like things change and evolve, and the way games are being played and the way success happens. It's not always the same. It isn't always the same recipe. What happened in like the mid 2010s, and I'll refer to the Canadians, when the Canadians tried to go bigger, more physical, wouldn't have been the same as today, where it's going quicker. When, Bergevin had all the small, quick players, everyone's like, well, they need to get bigger. And they used to get King, Ott, all those guys.
And he drafted McCarron, Tenorti.
Yeah, and that was at one point in the game, and then the game changes. The game becomes, not only do you have to be physical, not even big, you have to be more physical, but you have to be fast. So the game constantly changes. Some teams win. Look, if Edmonton wins, they're going to win based off of the roster they built through the draft. Because I don't know if it's most of their players, but they're important players are all drafted.
Let's name them. McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, Evan Bouchard,
Darnell Nurse.
Darnell Nurse.
Bouchard was Skinner. He was 5th overall. Bouchard.
He was a top 10. He was a top 10 pick. Ryan Nugent Hopkins. They traded for
Broberg. Is Broberg not one of their? No, was it Broberg?
Good question. But anyways, all that to say is, I think they didn't draft, but they signed Desharnais. I believe, because he was a free agent.
But their core was mainly drafted, whereas Florida, I know you have Barkov and who else? Lindell, and you mentioned one more important piece.
Ekblad. That's it.
That's 2. But the rest of the roster is mostly built via trade and free agency.
I also think head coach Paul Maurice changes everything.
For sure. And the GM, Bill Zito. Remember, guys, Bill Zito is the guy I referred to when Kent Hughes was hired, because Bill Zito was an ex-agent.
He was an agent.
Yeah. So we're
right on schedule.
We're right on schedule. Exactly. I mean, like,
we're just missing Barkov.
We traded for a third. We traded for a 3rd overall pick in Kirby Dach. We have Juraj Slafkovsky, who's a 1st overall. Ryan Backer, 5th overall. Whoever we're going to pick 5th overall this year. Caulfield at 15. Newhook at 16. Suzuki at 14, I believe. Or was that 13? Anyways.
14.
I'm just saying. The Newhook, I mentioned Newhook at 16. We're kind of on the right. The goalie. Yeah, I'm just talking about the forwards here. I'm just talking about the
forwards. They need to keep adding. They need to keep doing it. They need to keep going.
That you said, because that's that's a point of discussion that we've never brought up. How many guys, when it's going to be more competitive, how many of those guys are actually 1st-round picks? And there are a lot of them. What you just listed off, there are a lot of guys who are 1st-round picks. It's not like 3rd-round picks as a support.
No, Chris,
we're going to end up having a lot of 1st-rounders on our team.
Our top 6, and I'm including whoever they're going to draft this year. And if you add in Alex Newhook, our top 6 are all 1st-round picks.
For sure. Yeah. But that's what it is.
That's got to mean something.
Even if we continue down the line, I don't think we're going to get much further than the 2nd round. You have Owen Beck, Lane Hudson somehow as a 2nd rounder, fucking somehow. But other than that, Mayu, Gouli, I don't know if Mike Matheson will be around. But it's just like you said that, and I'm like, holy shit, there are a lot of 1st rounders. A lot of competitive teams have these third rounders and fourth rounders as support players. Like we have a lot of skill, a lot of top end high picks that are going to be on the Montreal Canadiens.
Even if Philip Machar, if Philip Machar cracks the lineup, he's a first round pick.
I love that kid, man. I hope he.
So imagine we have a first line guy who's playing on the third line just because of the depth that we could potentially have.
Good.
Which is essentially what Florida did, whether they traded or drafted. Exactly. Florida with Barkov, Tkachuk, Bennett, Reinhart, Ekblad. These are all first rounders that they have.
Sam, how the fuck did Calgary shit the bed when they had a Sam Bennett, they had a Matthew Tkachuk, they had Lindholm, they had Johnny Gaudreau. And unfortunately,
they had a good year with most of them, and then the next year they didn't have a good year, and they just said screw it, and they got rid of
goal because they never had a goalie. They didn't Riddick was their best goalie at that time. When poor Dougie Hamilton he couldn't do anything. Him and Giordano, they tried to fucking lead the way.
Well, let's not get into the topic of kissing Marty St. Louis' ass, but you also had Sutter as a coach. And that's why I'm sorry to say, but these dinosaurs, they're not fit to coach some of these younger players. I don't think they're getting through to them anymore.
The new wave style of hockey.
Paul Maurice.
Paul Maurice has been around for years, dude. Remember when he was coaching the Leafs?
Okay, but let's be honest here. John Tortorella is old school, but he can coach the modern day. Paul Maurice can coach the modern day. But if you were to start naming names like Ken Hitchcock, like a Jacques Lemaire style, Jacques Martin, these guys are not fit to be NHL head coaches anymore.
I still think they could make great assistant coaches.
It's possible.
Assistant coaches, but not the voice towards the players, not the primary guys pulling the strings.
Before you go on, Sam, he mentioned Tortorella and Maurice. They were on some teams where people thought, no, they're over the hill, those type of coaches. It obviously depends the team too. Look at Tortorella. He kind of rejuvenated a bit his career this year by coaching Philadelphia.
He had to learn.
Philadelphia wasn't a team that's supposed to battle for playoffs, and they were there the whole way. That's tremendous. And same with Paul Maurice. He was with Winnipeg. They couldn't get much done. And I always said, no, it's the team, and it still is the team. Mm-hmm. Look at Paul Maurice down in Florida. He's in the final.
Can I say one thing, Joey? One thing, or to the whole group at the same time. John Tortorella, he was perfect. He was very good with the New York Rangers, but I think there are perfect matches in life, and the Philadelphia Flyers and John Tortorella are just that perfect fit. I find it's just the city, the atmosphere, the mentality, the toughness. They're made for each other.
The Rangers got intimidated by Sam Bennett in these playoffs.
Yeah.
The Rangers got intimidated by Sam Bennett big time. He was in Kreider's face, and he moved Kreider with hits. Nobody can do that. Chris motherfucking Kreider. I don't want to get into it, but
so good, that guy.
Yeah, I had to say it.
But look, let's be honest. He destroyed Carolina. When the Rangers beat the Carolina Hurricanes, a lot of it was because of Chris Kreider. He was a fucking thorn in their side. He went nowhere against.
That's who Anderson should be like, for fuck's sakes.
Hey,
well,
exactly.
Dude, if Sam Bennett gets in the face of Hyman or Kane or even Draisaitl, I don't think he's fast enough to get to McDavid's face. Dude, Sam Bennett has one job, and it's to fucking intimidate the shit out of the top 6 Oilers players. And
you got to watch it though, Florida, because if they get on the penalty kill, they're fucked. That's what you want to try to stay away. Stay away from the dirtiness.
Their penalty kill is pretty good too, though. Florida.
It's good, yeah. It's I get what Zook's point with. But power play being great. Yeah,
absolutely. Zook is right. You don't want to give the Oilers power play.
No, because you don't know how the refs are going to be calling the last round. So.
No.
Oh my God, there's a huge debate though. It's are they gonna let slashes go on McDavid, or are they gonna fucking call them, or majority of them?
They should be calling them. I always say, things shouldn't change, and that should be one thing. But it's playoffs, so they always let a lot go.
I just also on. I think we're also underestimating that they have even Evan Bouchard on defense, though, the Oilers.
Yeah, no,
he's the best defenseman going into these playoffs.
Yeah, no, he for sure. He had a tremendous year, and his contribution from the point has been outstanding. if there's anything Edmonton should do is they should look to see how Lafreniere played against Florida. That's the only guy.
Amazing.
That's the only guy I could say that really troubled Florida
absolutely.
a lot. Was Zook's favorite player, Lafreniere.
Dude, he proved his worth. I'm sorry. I'm not even apologizing. Alexis Lafreniere, this is what the Rangers had to do with him last year in the playoffs. But they couldn't because of Tarasenko and Patrick Kane in the lineup taking over the top six. You put Lafreniere in the top six role in these playoffs, and he kept getting better and better as they kept going. Like, that's the only reason why he was they had a shot, the Rangers, because Lafreniere and Shesterkin in net.
Yeah, those are the only two guys that showed up and played. It's too bad, Sammy. You know what? When I saw Lafreniere played, I thought of that episode where we beat the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Oh my God!
What it could have been.
Well,
what it could have been.
I look. Part of me is still. I don't know. I really don't. We'll never know unless he gets traded here somehow. But like even at that, we'll never know what how that could have played out for Lafreniere being the first overall pick as a French Canadian for the Montreal Canadiens.
It's probably a lot of pressure, but I'm glad at least he's stepping up. And
absolutely.
You don't want those guys to be
the Rangers too were probably plagued with injuries though.
Yeah, for sure. Everyone is injured at a certain point at this time in hockey. It's how it is.
But I don't know if there's that many injuries going on with the Oilers or the Panthers.
Oh, I just meant they probably have no one's not nobody, but most of the team is not 100%.
Zibanejad did nothing.
No, he didn't.
Adam Fox did nothing in that series. Like the Panarin a little bit,
No, you never know what they could be going through. Sam, to me, I personally think a lot of them always have something at least towards the end. It's so physical hockey, play so many games. Like I believe they take painkillers and all that stuff to help them.
Sorry, did you know Price was dying in 2021? But he had nothing left. And
Price's knees were dead.
Never seen him play better like that in his whole life.
What's his name? Shea Weber's ankles were dead.
Exactly.
Paul Byron's hips were dead.
They were playing like gods, dude.
Toffoli pulled groin.
Toffoli, his groin dead. I don't know. I think Anderson was fine. I think Caulfield was fine. Well, Petrie's fucking eyes got busted, so his eyes were dead.
His thumb went through the fucking glove. What is the likelihood?
Oh my God!
And
I know.
They killed him.
Speaking of Carey Price, Mr. Doctor himself, I'm so happy for him.
I didn't know he studied for his doctor. I had no idea.
Well, he had the time off to do it. So.
Yeah, no, I know that, but I had no idea he was doing it.
No, I'm happy, and it's good for him that a lot of these.
Maybe he'll fix his own knees.
Well, maybe. Can you imagine? He gets to install robotic knees, comes back for the final year of his contract.
He's so used to fucking doing everything himself, Joey. He might just have to. He might just come back in time for the Habs to be competitive.
He did everything for this fuck. He's the only. Yeah, he was the only one that.
Sam, have you finally not let go, but have you finally moved on from Price? Has it finally
No.
No, still there. Okay.
I'm still.
You still have that attachment, eh?
Which attachment?
Well, for Price.
What are you talking about?
Like you still have that attachment.
Oh, I still have that attachment. Yeah, of course.
He's waiting for Fowler to come around, man.
Yeah.
I need Jacob Fowler.
I'm just saying, I have one player left in soccer I have that attachment for, but I've learned after Koivu and a player from soccer, I've learned to not like the player and just focus more on the team. I have one player.
Let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go. Yeah, eventually I'll have to, but let's settle the score here. Who are we picking and in how many series? How many games? What?
Wait. I want to hear this favorite player of Joey's.
Mine for soccer?
Yeah.
It's a soccer player that plays for Rome. It's just my last of all. Dybala. I don't.
As I'm wearing my soccer.
He's Argentinian. He's not even Italian. He's from Argentina. It's Dybala. It's my last favorite player I have. Everything else I've detached. So I'm more about.
I just wanted you to admit that it was a former Juve player.
Oh, okay. He got me.
Okay, guys. Let's do our predictions now. Who's winning the cup and in how many games?
Florida in 6.
Florida
in 6. Florida in.
I want Florida to win it at home. That's the problem, and to me, that's 5 or 7. It's right. Yeah, they're home, right? Yes, they're home.
They had more points. Yes. No. Yes.
Yeah, they're home.
5 or 7. Okay, Chris.
I'll think of 5
for
or
showmanship. For I said Florida in 6, but fuck it. Game 7 overtime. It's never happened in the history of the league. Game 7 overtime Edmonton.
Oh, stop!
Fuck it, let's do it.
I'll go Game 7 Florida.
We haven't
stop your show.
We haven't gotten Anthony's predictions, but Adri says Edmonton in 6.
Well, Anthony already predicted the Rangers.
Yeah, so he's out. Don't even count.
I
had Florida in 7
finals from my original bracket,
and he had the Florida Panthers in the finals. So
it's true.
Actually, I had Edmonton winning the cup in my original bracket. So fingers crossed.
I
don't know. I like I said, I've mentioned before, I want Florida to win. I think they're going to do it in 7.
Okay.
I think Florida
and Sam are on the same team.
I don't think it's going to be overtime. Who's going to take the Conn Smythe? That's my.
It's hard. It depends the series, right? Like what happens
for Florida. If Florida wins, it's Bobrovsky.
You think?
Yeah, I would say he'd have to be that. He'd have to be on his head, not on his head, but
yeah, but he's going to have to stand on his head in order for them to win. And if he does, if Florida wins it, he's winning the cup. He's winning the Conn Smythe.
And if it's Edmonton,
I think it could be Hyman, Bouchard, or McDavid. It'll be one of those three.
I'd say either McDavid or Bouchard.
No, Chris, did you say Hyman?
I said
Zach Hyman is a few goals away from tying the NHL record.
I don't care.
Goals in a playoff.
For a guy that
25 already.
I'm Chris, you're right. He might win it, but I look at like overall play for a guy that literally just sits backdoor in the blue fucking crease and just puts the puck home. It's valuable, yes, but not to win a Conn Smythe. I'm sorry. I will never. He could score 1 million goals, but the fact that he scores it literally always in that blue paint and that's all he does. I look at overall play. To influence. I can't. I would never.
I'm with Joey on this.
It would only be because of the record. It would only be because I'm full agreement. It would be Bouchard or McDavid, but I'm just saying he's close to tying or overtaking 100-year, or not 100-year, but yeah, nearly 100-year.
You're right, but I would be pissed if it's Zach Hyman. And you know me, I'll be the first to go for stats, for analytics, for everything. This is one thing is like, okay, watch the game rather than what he does, because he does nothing but score in that blue crease. So to me, it should never go to him.
Cool.
So Adri said Edmonton in 6.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you go. Awesome. We were talking about Habs prospects earlier, real quick, and trying to compare how the rebuild could somewhat be comparable to the Florida Panthers in a sense. We mentioned a second-round pick in Lane Hudson. What about the player that was picked before him, centerman Owen Beck?
MVP, won the Memorial. Good job. He had a really
Memorial Cup champion.
Really game. They almost choked it. I was like, oh my god! But
the London Knights being coached under Coach Dale Hunter, like they're an unreal team. But man, like. He stepped up when he had to in the biggest stage. 2 big goals with a fucking cold celebration.
I think that's huge for his development.
Dude, it's unreal. Unreal.
Do you agree that at the beginning of the year, or maybe middle of last season, if you will, we were sort of talking about how we weren't necessarily satisfied of Owen Beck's progress up until that point? He had a quiet year this year.
No, dude, he put up.
I'm not saying quiet as bad, but I'm saying we thought he would have exploded a little faster, and he's taking a little longer than.
But he's a 200-foot centerman. He's not just.
But that's the thing. But this tournament here shows that he's.
So the Memorial Cup is like just the OHL playoffs. Like he's a champion again, back-to-back OHL championships.
And not OHL. Not OHL.
Yeah. Yeah, he won. He won with the
beat. London.
You're right. Excuse me. You're right. Yeah, he won, but he won the OHL last year. Yeah, you're right. With Peterborough Petes, and then he lost with the Saginaw Spirit. And then exactly. But like, thanks for correcting me. But he's done everything right. He's won a gold medal for the World Juniors. He's won one OHL championship. My bad. The Memorial Cup, MVP. Like Zook said, this kid's ready to go pro.
He is.
He's gonna go to Laval.
I think so. Why not start in Laval?
Sam, you had a bit of hesitation. I was going to ask, what do you think his chances are? Everybody that he makes the roster.
If Christian Dvorak starts injured again, then his chances.
Dvorak, man.
Then his chances are better. If Christian
Did he
Dvorak
retire already?
He's got 1 year left, Zook. We're almost.
God damn it!
We're almost going to get rid of that contract.
Or if Doc is injured again, I could see him slotting in that.
Oh.
Nah, I wouldn't give him top 6 to start.
No,
not yet.
No, not yet. No,
not top 6.
Give him top 6 in Laval. I think
I see someone like Marty doing something like that.
If he comes in, he's going to be 3rd, 4th line center.
Okay.
Wow. I think on this team he could be a perfect 3rd line centerman.
More than Evans.
That's where his fit would be.
You could alter him and Evans, and then if the Canadians do sign Oliver Kapanen,
you know what I mean? Fuck.
But right now, Owen Beck, like he's done everything right. This is absolutely huge for his development. I wouldn't mind. You know what? Him going to Laval. I mentioned Philip Machar. He's going to Laval too. David Reinbacher is going to be there from the start. Like Laval's going to have another exciting season.
Any small chance Reinbacher? I know it's more of a Beck talk, but any small chance Reinbacher makes it?
Not before Mayu.
Dude, so on defense, we could talk a little bit about what to see coming this training camp. On defense, the fight is going to be between Hudson, Mayu, and Reinbacher, as rookies to fucking make the lineup out of training camp.
But we had a small sample size last year at the end of the year, and top 3 of those players, immediate impact. I would say it's Hudson, Mayu, and Reinbacher.
I agree.
It would probably be Hudson's to lose.
Because Hudson, he makes things happen. And Mayu, too, did not look out of place.
No.
Reinbacher, too, was decent, too. But,
if Mayu does not make the team out of camp, he's going to be the first defenseman called whenever there's an injury. Doesn't matter which side. Doesn't matter which side. Even if on the left side or on the right side, if there's an injury on defense,
he can play left side as well too, right?
We'll see. I mean, there's still talks about Harris moving from Harris, obviously Barron. I don't know. One of them might make it out of camp besides Hudson, not Reinbacher, more Mayu.
I think the biggest question on defense right now, though, guys, what do the Canadians offer restricted free agent Arbor Jacki?
Oh, I don't know. The injury.
I would do a 4-year contract.
Okay.
$2.5 million.
I like that.
Yeah. That seems fair. Or I would have done more of a 2-year bridge.
You want to do a bridge deal with Jacki?
I mean, he's not going to be he's not the defenseman to me that's going to, not that character-wise, but his play style won't command a lot of money. I don't think.
No, it won't command a lot of money. But if you could get him for the least amount of money for the most amount of years,
he's very young.
I would be willing to sign him for 5 years at 3.5. I know that's a lot of money, but if you get him for 5 years, 6 years at 3.5, any day of the week.
Sam, how old is he?
He's 22, turning 23.
Because at 24, you can do, because you get usually your unrestricted is 27, 28, and if we
you have to play a certain amount of games too.
Yeah, but if he does make it, the 2-year deal will allow Montreal to then sign him 5-6 years and get him extra years before hitting free agency. Or I guess you can do it in the way where you sign him before he goes to 27, and then you try to resign him before. I don't know. I don't think he's the type of player that's going to be so skillful enough that he's going to command a lot. So to me, between 2 and maybe his max potential is $4 to $5 million. I don't think
that's a lot though.
No, I'm not saying now. I'm saying his max potential when he gets older.
Right.
Maybe it might be 4 or 5 million type of defenseman. Maybe someone will overpay in free agency. I don't know. I think I'd start with the bridge deal. We have other rookies. I'm not saying they'll kick him out of the lineup or anything, but we have other rookies coming up, and I want them to evaluate. Maybe some guys step up over him. You said it. We have Mayu, Hudson. You got eventually Reinbacher. You got a lot of players coming. I don't know if I want to tie so many defensemen to contract because I want the best 6 that play. Really.
Yeah, but I think he's part of that 6.
Yes, for now, absolutely. But I think there's competition for those bottom
for sure.
spots.
But if these playoffs have, and the past playoffs have indicated anything, it's that like you need size and grit that he brings.
You want to know something? Actually, with regard to Jack-Eye, call me crazy, but I think he's the type of player that could also receive an offer sheet. Maybe it's gonna sound fucking nuts, but a team like Boston, Philly, these teams that really value, or even some of the Western teams, they're drooling at the mouth. Like how many times have we heard in the past few months Kent Hughes was approached for Arbor Jack-Eye? So I mean, if a team has some money in the pocket, it's gonna sound kind of crazy, but I think a lot of teams might look at Montreal and say, "Fuck it, I'd pay $5 million to have Arbor Jack-Eye. He's going to be a staple.
Where is Waddell working now?
Whatever we have to develop him, I would want to sign him as quickly as possible."
Where is Waddell working?
Columbus.
We got to watch that team.
Or fuck.
What he did with KK.
I think Columbus is picking a defenseman anyways in this draft. So
there you go.
All right, cool. Did you guys see the announcement was made that Crave TV is going to have a Montreal Canadiens behind the scenes documentary?
How many times, Sam, have we been saying
I'm so excited?
They need this. They needed this 4 years ago, dude.
But it's got to be better than 24CH. Like 24CH was like so tame and like no swearing.
I agree.
Like this. I want to see Marty fucking lose his shit in the dressing room.
1,000%.
But I also want to see Marty fucking pump the shit out of his players too, with a bunch of F-bombs. Like
I think it's going to be that though. It's going to be a lot of that. It's going to be a lot of
if it's going on Crave, let's hope so. Like,
right.
Something similar to Hard Knocks. Like Hard Knocks is definitely more than what 24CH is. They do it for football, and there's definitely more.
What was
profanity in it?
The road to the Winter Classic when HBO did that. Remember 24?
Oh yeah.
24/7. The road to that was the best hockey style documentary following teams that you could possibly see that they've ever had the NHL, and that was like in the mid 2010s when like it was just hockey was just awesome before all this political woke bullshit was going on. Like this shit was awesome. They need to bring that back. But also I'm actually excited for this too. The Prime is releasing a documentary following 11 players. And I think 11 players that they finally have the names. It's Connor McDavid, Matthew Tkachuk. Yeah, go figure. Jacob Trouba, Leon Draisaitl. No kidding. Hold on. David Pastrnak and Jeremy Swayman. Quentin Hughes of Vancouver, Jack Eichel, Joey's favorite, William Nylander, like we saw in the trailer, Philip Forsberg of Nashville Predators, and why? I don't know, but Gabriel Landeskog, who didn't play.
So my question to this, I didn't read more into it, but like I'm just curious, maybe Sam or boys. Mm-hmm. Are these players that they're following going to be like rotating? Like 1 year it's these players, and the next year it's going to be another 11 players, like randomly selected, or is it?
I have no idea.
That's what they should do, though, man. Every year have a different.
I think they'll be smart enough. Yeah.
My prediction is, if it's a success, they'll do it again next year. Maybe they put
it helps the brand of the players. It helps the brand of the team.
But if you want personality, like they have to throw in either Caulfield or Slavkovsky into this.
100%. But the problem with Slav is that he doesn't speak a lot.
It doesn't matter. Like it's just his.
Like it has to be like a Zeke. Like he's a big mouth.
Sam, why not David Savard?
I'm
joking.
Why?
I have to pick on him. It's his last year.
Anyways, but that's going to be interesting to see, and I actually look forward to that. I love anything hockey documentary behind the scenes. Like, I'm really excited.
Behind the scenes, period.
Dude, so do I. To end off the episode, guys, we did something for the first time. We asked our followers on Instagram to send us questions, and we were going to answer them during the episode. So we got quite a few of them, and
I hope it's not Joey's bots.
A lot of them are similar. Listen, I gave the option for followers to ask us questions. It doesn't have to be about hockey or about the Canadians. It could have been about us. But I'm sure this is go out well, and we're gonna do more of this in the future. So let's start off. I like this one, and it's actually been a topic within the last 24 to 48 hours on Twitter and social media. Zegras or Niches? Zegras?
Easy, dude.
I want the higher potential. It's not easy like Zook saying, but I want the higher potential.
Okay.
Okay. Easy meaning it's easy to decide who between those two players.
Okay.
Come on.
All right, perfect. So
Zegras, dude.
Now another
Michigan.
So that was our question from Elias. Mateo asks, would you guys be willing to give up Gouli for Zegras or Niches?
Yes. No. Not for Niches, though.
I say for Niches.
And I'll say why, all right?
Okay.
I think Mayu could fit in that slot of Gouli.
Even if one's on the left and the other one's on the right?
Well, Mayu could play both, I'm pretty sure. You've seen it in the minors.
I would not give up
juniors,
Gouli.
But you wouldn't give up?
I would not give up Gouli, man.
There's some red flag for Zegras. I think his value is a little lower than what it used to be.
What's the red flag?
Okay.
He hasn't been fully committed in terms of playing hockey. He's been lazy.
He's playing in Anaheim, dude. It's like
regardless, it doesn't matter. You gotta show that you care no matter where you are. It sucks, but you gotta do it. So because of those red flags, I wouldn't give up our best defenseman for it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Chris asks, if Kirby gets injured for at least 50 games next year, would you trade him?
Yes.
But who would take him?
That's my point. Nobody's going to take as an injury-prone player.
Exactly.
But okay.
Yeah, wait till the answer might be he has to get back on his feet, get back playing well, and then you'd only trade him when he gets better.
Can they buy out his contract?
His contract is actually really good for us.
They're not going to buy out a young contract.
They won't buy it out.
No. My buddy Alan asks if Demidov, if him or Lindstrom are both taken, do the Habs try to trade their pick? And please, he says, no more defensemen.
I agree with the defenseman. I said this. Iginla has been an option for Montreal. I get it, but I would not be surprised if they were ending up trading down because they don't find the value in the pick. It is a small opportunity, but I do not think they do it.
Okay.
What's the benefit of trading down again, sir?
You can acquire more assets and then maybe trade them. If let's say he wants to trade down, get 2 first-rounders, and then you can trade those for another type of opportunity, Doc. I don't think he'll do it, but small possibility.
My gut feel is they're going to stay at 5. I think one maybe controversial pick that they might get at 5, talking about Kirby Dach, somebody similar in size and skill, would be Seneke. Mm-hmm. But the pick that I would actually, to answer this question, where they pick trade the pick, I think they might end up moving their later first round pick to try to drop down. I could definitely see the Canadians gunning for like the 10 to 12 position in the draft.
Okay. Yeah. So again, kind of relatable question. Dom asks, who do we take if the top 4 is Celebrini, Demidov, Levshunov, or Lidstrom?
Same thing. If you're staying at 5,
yeah.
I mean,
I personally want to get. I want Iginla, but I know
Iginla or the outside chance of Seneke,
because I think a player like I'm just going based off what I've seen and heard. I think players like Lidstrom and Iginla are players that can help you get through the playoffs with their physicality, but still their skills up front of scoring. Yeah. So great question.
We don't have many like that, dude.
No, that's it. The profile in here is Banana Duck. Favorite all-time Hab or non-Hab player?
Hab against Koivu. I mean, you can see it in the back.
Saku Koivu, yeah.
So favorite. Wait, what was that? Sorry.
Favorite all-time Hab player or non-Hab player?
Both?
Whichever, sure.
Favorite non-Hab Hat player is Mario Lemieux.
Okay.
Favorite hat player? Kovalev.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Kovalev takes a number 2 spot to number 31.
Carey Price.
Carey Price.
I had Koivu. I'm with Joey Koivu, but I have multiple favorite players. Like on the Habs was Koivu, then Kovalev came. Carey Price, obviously. PK Subban, obviously. Right now, like I obviously like I truly love Nick Suzuki and what he's doing for this team. I'm gonna grow to love Slavkovsky even more. Caulfield as well, but I'd say those are my favorite non-hat players. I was a huge fan of like Steve Yzerman, Joe Sakic, Sergei Fedorov. On defense, Scott Stevens all the way.
Oh yeah,
I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Dirty hit to the
sound,
I don't give a fuck. Boom! I don't give a shit. I don't care what the snowflakes out there think. Scott Stevens, you did not want to be on the ice with this guy. Incredible captain, leader, 3-time Stanley Cup champion, Conn Smythe winner, Hall of Famer.
Sam, you might know this, and I'll tell the audience. You know who's my other favorite player? Do you remember? You would remember if there's Chris, definitely not.
Mike Ribeiro.
Yeah. No, I got this.
Good guess.
Justin Williams.
No, come on, man.
In the Habs?
No. Well, okay. This is gonna kind of give it away, but he played non like his later years. He played for Montreal. It didn't really count, but not his prime.
Kovalchuk.
Yeah, loved Kovalchuk.
He was good in Montreal though.
Phenomenal. Yeah, he was okay.
Him and Danny Heatley, like I actually enjoyed watching those.
Mark Savard in the middle.
Oof. Yeah. Well, yeah.
You like Russians, eh? Joey.
Dude, Pavel Datsuk.
Pavel Datsuk was goddamn amazing to watch.
Datsuk, Fedorov, Kovalchuk. I'll be honest, I have a thing for Russian. I loved Russian.
Markov.
But I have Andrei Markov on the Canadians. Absolutely can't forget him. Got to have an appreciation for our generation, Crosby and Ovechkin.
Yeah,
all the way.
Ovechkin, in my opinion, is.
Yeah. Do you guys, I don't know how to pronounce it, Raffiser, do you guys, will Caulfield become a top 10 goal scorer in the league?
He definitely has the potential.
I would say his potential is that borderline-ish top 10. I mean, hockey could have a down year in goals, which could mean he could have a good year and go up. It depends that too. Mm-hmm. I would say he's borderline. He could be borderline top 10 in the right team.
Yeah. And look, if in the Canadians, if you have a year where Slavkovsky is having a good year and Suzuki, he's gonna have a lot of points.
Yeah. Fuck, we're getting a lot of questions. Is Zegras or Nichas? Like Guylaine asks, is Zegras or Nichas?
Zegras.
Yeah. Okay.
Zegras, hands down.
Well, one Lisa asks, will Josh Ottawa start next year with the Habs?
No.
Yes.
I say yes.
I say yes.
Okay. Who else here do we have? Angie asks, with the current and upcoming roster, when do you see the Habs finally be Cup contenders?
Next year.
3 years. 3 years.
I say more 4 to 6.
Yeah.
6.
I'm at the 4 to 7 year mark right now, maybe 5 to 7 year mark right now.
You said that 4 years ago.
7 years, about 3 years
said
ago.
2 years ago, I said it was going to be 7 and 9. I said that 2 years ago.
7 and 9, and now you're at what?
I'm at 5 and 7.
5.
There you go.
Anthony's still at the 4 year mark since COVID, which 4 years past. He's still at the 4 year mark.
Well, this next season's going to be that, so we'll see.
Okay.
You know what? 3 years, which you guys are not factoring in, is the free agents or the trades that can be made.
I say 3 years. They're starting to make playoffs, but to be contenders, like
honestly, I think within 3 years they're going to be fucking dominating and pushing in the playoffs.
Sam, when's the next time you think they'll make playoffs?
Right.
That's what I want to say now.
Not in 2 years. Not this season, but the one
I
after.
think they have a solid chance making it this season.
I think they do have a chance, but it could be at the skin of their teeth too. Again, so many factors.
Of course, there's a lot of factors.
With this team, it's got to be health and the progression of the young guys.
Yeah,
that's what they can't play special teams the way they did last season. They can't be bottom at the power play.
Last season for the last 10 years.
Well, listen, to compare last season to the upcoming one, they can't. They got to score on the power play.
Yeah,
they got to score on the power. 5-on-5, they're great. Listen, they got to win, and they got to win those games where those 1-goal games where they go in overtime and lose, and they got to win those games where they gave up leads.
Yeah,
they got to win.
Yeah,
those.
like Toronto, the first game
on 5-on-5, they were top 10, I think. Eh?
They do that. If the Canadians are good on the power, I'm not saying they have to be top in the league, but if the Canadians are in the middle of power play, penalty kill, and they don't give up leads,
above 20%,
they're gonna make they might squeeze in. I truly believe that. Okay. So we're gonna go to 2 more, and from the same person, Christian. He goes, because he sent a lot, but I'm only gonna pick. Here, I like this one. What do you want to see Slav improve on the most during the offseason?
Shoot more. Be more selfish, Slav. Shoot the fucking puck. You have 30 goal scoring plus potential. Shoot it.
Dude, he was a playmaking master at the World Championship, though, for Slovakia.
Like, I want him to
should have all been passing to him.
Right. but like Chris says, I want him to be nicknamed next season Selfish Slav. Just do it.
I'm calling him the Slovak
He does have a wicked shot, that kid, man.
And the last question he actually has the balls. Christian has the balls to ask, for Italians, do you pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Get the
absolutely not. Where is Christian? He better not be eating any of this. Please, no. I'm totally with that meme where he has.
I just sharded myself.
Pineapple pizzas and the guy throws it in the garbage.
Dude, what was that video of a guy in Italy going around in Napoli? I think.
I saw that on Instagram.
I don't know if it was in Napoli or in Rome, but he's going around with like Napolitan pizza.
It's in Naples.
It was in Naples. He's going everybody wanted to kill him. Like, he had the women with the wooden spoons. Like,
it's not a joke, Sammy, man. I've been to Naples, and there's actual gangsters of that shit. They'll kill you like for that shit. Like, it's not. It's a seriously ghetto place, bro. You gotta be careful. Like, even the nanas, they'll hit you with some wooden shoes.
Oh my god! Like,
it hurts.
It's the videos of like he's got a body cam. They're trying to fucking smack him.
100%.
Pizza for them is like they would take it by the slice as a snack. It's not just a meal you sit down. For them in Naples, it's religious. You go after school,
cultural. It's all that.
Yeah, you take one slice and that's a snack.
I get it.
Awesome. Well, that was lots of fun. I actually really enjoyed that. We're going to do that again in a couple of episodes. That's all I have for tonight, folks and gentlemen. If you guys got anything else to add, speak now or forever hold your peace until next episode.
Might have a pretty interesting episode coming up.
Yeah, stay tuned to that.
Might have a special guest coming on, give a little bit more perspective of the game and what it's like, but you'll have to stay tuned for that.
We'll let you know if and when it happens. Cool. Well, that was lots of fun. Don't forget, Saturday, boys, the quest for the cup really, really kicks off. Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Saturday night, the Edmonton Oilers versus the Florida Panthers. Enjoy it. It's going to be lots and lots of fun. The Euro Cup is on its way, too. I'm actually excited for that as well. Thank you all for tuning in to this brand new episode of the Curfew Boys podcast, live on YouTube, also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, any podcast platform. Please like and subscribe. Please do that. Please, please, please do that. Help us grow this lovely podcast page of us. Help us grow this fan base of the Montreal Canadiens and hockey elsewhere around the world. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Carry on any conversations about this team or hockey on there. Myself, Sammy, here with Zook, Chris, Joey. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Have a good night. It was nice seeing your beautiful faces. We'll meet again once we find out who the 2024 Stanley Cup Champions is going to be. And until then,
bye now.
Good night.